Welcome to the Rockin' Review. I'm thrilled to have on an incredible speaker, author of 2 books. He's been an agent for musicians and for sports, but the main thing is he's the founder of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. And you know what? I've stayed tuned in since you launched this 24 years ago. David Fishof.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for having me on.
It's great to actually meet you in person and knowing your history and everything. How did you come up with the concept for Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp?
Well, I came up with it when I put together Ringo's tours. I created this concept of putting all the All-Stars together.
Yeah. And well, you've done the British Symphony, you've done the Monkeys 20th Reunion.
Dirty Dancing. I've done a lot of different kinds of packages, but
I wish you had some success.
Yeah. the Ringo tour, I'm on the tour. It's the 4th show, and everyone said it's never going to work, David. You can't put all these All-Stars together. It would be great for Live Aid, one show, but to tour all these All-Stars. I'm having dinner with the president of Radio City. Clarence Clemens walks by my table. He says, "David, I'm out of here." I said, "What, are you nuts? Why?" And then a second later, Nils Lofgren, he walks by. He says, "David, I'm out of here." Now, I had mortgaged my house to do this Ringo tour.
Oh, my gosh.
And, you know, we promoters, we're nuts, you know. We'll do crazy things.
I say visionary, not nuts, but yeah.
Right. And so I said, what's going on? He said, "Joe Walsh and Levon Helm are having a fight. And you better go out and break this fight up." I said, "Oh, no, I'm going to lose my house." I run downstairs. I walk into the dressing room, and there's Joe Walsh with blood on his face and his hands, and he's got a knife, and then Levon Helm, also blood all over his face, and he's got a glass bottle, and they're in the middle of a fight, and they're fighting each other. "You did my song wrong, you played my song wrong," and Levon takes the glass bottle and breaks it over the road case. And I walk in there, and then you see me walking in, and I say, "Are you guys a bunch of babies?" And here I am, 30 years old. They both turned around, and they stuck their tongue out at me. and you can see that if you Google my name and Ringo on YouTube, you'll see Jim Keltner was filming the whole thing, and Dr. John is in the room, and all these rockets. They set me up. And
that is amazing.
Yeah. So I got from there. I got the idea. You know, this would make a great camp. Put all these rock stars together. So 24 years ago, I created the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and about 15 years ago, I decided no more road. I'm going to put my full life into this.
Well, and also with your family in LA, you want to spend more time with the kids.
Absolutely.
And you said it sort of keeps you from having to tour all the time.
I wanted to stay in this business and not tour. What could I do best?
Well, you know, and it's always amazed me on it too, David, to where you find such an eclectic group of musicians, just like the ones you pulled together in Nashville, you know, where you've got Jonathan Cain, you've got Mike Smith, you've got John Bollinger, Derek St. Holmes, all these great musicians, Nuno
Betancourt. I mean, he's going to jam with these campers. And then, and listen, the best I got coming up, I got Jerry Cantrell and Mike Inez. They're coming back for their 2nd camp. Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, Joe Perry, Lou Graham.
Well, now, how do you decide? I got to know. How do you decide on the musicians that lead the camp? And obviously, you got the counselors also, and also the locations, because I know you've bounced between L.A. and Las Vegas and New York and now Nashville.
Chicago. I had Buddy Guy in Chicago recently at a camp. I'll tell you, it was hard in the beginning to get musicians to do this. I mean, 24 years ago, no one would do it. They wouldn't do it. And it was Roger Daltrey who did it. And once Roger Daltrey did it, I got so much publicity. And then the Simpsons did the episode with the Rolling Stones.
Right.
And then Bones did an episode, and Saturday Night Live did an episode. They all started, you know, Ellen, she went on a comedy series. She goes to Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp with David Crosby. And it was just, and Bonnie Raitt's in the episode. So when Mick and Keith started doing it on television,
right,
then it opened up. And really Roger, I owe everything to Roger Daltrey. Because he did it, he helped me a lot, and Jeff Beck. And once Jeff Beck did it, all of a sudden the phones were ringing, and Jerry Cantrell, you know, I tried to get hard for so many years. And
well, but also that you have those contacts, David. I mean, who else other than you could put something like this together? Because me as a musician, I'm thinking, well, I can learn to sing from Roger. I can learn to play guitar from Jeff. It's like you can learn to songwrite from Gene Simmons. It's like all these kind of musicians you're putting together, but it's also so that the campers that come and enjoy it and are a part of it, it's not just being there for the one time and jamming and learning. You stay in touch with them.
I stay in touch with, first of all the rock stars. I adore them. I go to shows, but more the campers. They go through a life-changing experience, and when they come out of that camp, it's unbelievable. It propels them to want to be in a band, to write songs. And you know what's great about being a musician? You could be a musician to 90 years old. I mean, look at today.
Well, and you're a drummer.
McCartney, right?
And you also mentioned that your brother was, you know, very, you know.
My brother was my influence. He introduced me to Cream. I said to Ginger Baker, I said one day, I said, Ginger, there were 2 names I heard in the house. My dad was a rabbi. I heard God, and I heard Ginger Baker because my brother's a drummer. So.
Well, now you got to tell me too. I've heard rumors that there may be a documentary coming out this year.
Yes, there there is. Doug Blush just won the Oscar last week for the short form documentary he did on called Period. But he's done an introspective on the camp, and he's gone through these campers, and they're deep into their lives.
Well, and you also had a few popular musicians, maybe like Sammy Hagar and a few people on there.
So that's what's interesting. That'll be the kicker, because while you see the lives of the people going through their life-changing experiences, from getting rid of their fears to an autistic kid who's better, to a woman who had breast cancer who's better. Wow. It's unbelievable what the power of music does. It's the rocker who also comes to rock camp, and they go through the life-changing experience. And that's what is great, because they're not doing this for the money. They're doing this as a give back.
Right.
They're doing it because they love music. And Roger Daltrey says, I was one of them. I just got lucky. Nancy Wilson says in the documentary, we spend our whole life making music. It's fun and music. And then once we climb up the ladder, that's once we get there, it's about the agent, the lawyer, the lawsuits, the business. He says we lose the music, the love of the music.
Right.
And that's
where
what rock camp
from.
is, where they started
from. Well, I think the cool concept I think about it too, David, is that they get to share meals with them. You've got the counselors, so it's really
and knowledge.
Yeah, the knowledge, and so it's a lifestyle. It's not just like coming in and let me show you this guitar lick. It's like no, let's talk about it. Let's see where you're coming from.
I said to Slash, would you do my rock camp? He said, how long is it? I said, it's 2 hours. Just come, jam with everybody, song. 12 hours later, he left. Once they put on a guitar, they want to play.
Yeah.
Nick Mason from Pink Floyd, he comes to camp. I come for a few hours. He stayed for 4 days. He said, I never get to jam monkey music with Mickey Dolenz. I never get to play all these kinds of different music. He had such a great... And then he wrote a story on GQ about his experience.
Well, and so as much as the campers enjoying it, the musicians
Absolutely.
enjoy it because they get to hang out with it, because they never get to do that.
First of all,
they're always on tour.
They're always on tour. Roger loves, he says, you're giving so many of these people, musicians, jobs. He loves that about it. Yeah. But he also loves meeting the people, and the people are fabulous. These people are rock stars always run out the back door. They never want to meet. But now they're meeting such incredible people.
Well, and I get your emails, because I signed up years ago, and I just was always amazed at the eclectic group of musicians you would have for each one. I'm thinking, how did David come up with this?
How does he mix it? Yeah. Well, now I've been...
And also, how does it all blend together while you're having the camp?
Right, and I theme it. Now I've been theming them more. So Judas Priest, I will stick with the metal. I used to put a metal guy together with a rock guy.
Yeah.
But I only did one camp a year, so I try to get everything. Now that I'm doing 6, 7 camps a year, and if they want, they go to our website, rockcamp.com, and they can find out about all our upcoming camps.
Now, while the camp's going on, do you walk in and sit in? Do you check things out? How does this work? Because David, you've been involved with this stuff too long. handling the acts, You've been around. You love music. So how do you just sort of wander around? What do you do?
So what I do is I do my opening speech today. I get my fun to introduce everybody, give them the rules. They got to write an original song. They got to perform. They got 2 live gigs. They're going to record with Jonathan Cain.
That's some pressure.
Yeah, put the pressure. Okay. So the biggest problem I have in my business is people are scared. I hate to say it, a week before camp, it's embarrassing, but we call it Cancer Week. I get a call from my wife. My husband can't come. His mother has cancer. I said, no, she doesn't. Let me just talk to him. He's scared. Yeah. His guitar has cancer. The drums have cancer. They throw that word. They're scared.
Right.
Now, I get it.
Also, it's intimidating. When
you're in a room with 6 people and you're afraid to suck. Pardon my expression.
It's one thing if you're jamming with your neighbor Jimmy and you mess up, but when you're hanging out with Joe Walsh and Slash and you hit a wrong note, it's like, okay, I'm a little embarrassed.
But you shouldn't be, and that's what I get it. It's non-competitive, and they don't realize that these rock stars are there to help them.
Right.
To help them, to give them the knowledge.
Getting over that fear.
They know they're going to, and the fear is the biggest issue. And once you get over that fear, so the campers that come, once they get over that fear, 50% of them return. 50%.
How amazing is that?
They just,
and I liked it too. Having, like I said, I get your emails to where it's like that it's for all the different levels, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, pro.
I put you in that kind of band.
Yeah.
And like Alice Cooper says, I love going to this camp. He said the different ages, 20 to 70. And then I'm thinking, he's playing with a 26-year-old guitar player.
Exactly.
And he's got a 30-year-old drummer. Mm-hmm. But that's great about music. And the other thing I love about it, you're in a band with a guy who started Oracle. You got a guy who started Oracle there in a band with someone who might be paying it off, But when it comes to music, everything's even.
It's a leveler.
It's a leveler.
I think for everyone. Now,
yeah.
I got to ask, just so our viewers know, what is the best website for them to go to so they can see what towns you're coming to, what musicians they can jam with, when you're coming back to Nashville? What's the best website?
Rockcamp.com is the best way, and sign up for our newsletter, and you'll be the first ones to hear who's coming.
You know what? I'm so glad you've done this, David. And I think, for fellow musicians and for everybody, I just think it's such a great concept that you launched, and it came, and 24 years into it, you're still doing it, and it's getting bigger. You're picking up cities, and now all the musicians want to be a part of it.
That was the hardest thing, it wasn't hip. Well, it wasn't hip to do a meet and greet 25 years ago, and now everybody's doing, meet and greets.
Everything changes.
Everything changes.
You were a visionary.
Thank you.
Well, be sure and check out Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and sign up for the newsletter. Check out the website. You may want to be a part of it. At least read up on it and see. Maybe you want to check this out. Always incredible musicians. David Fishof, thanks for joining the Rock and Review.
Thank you.
Be sure and take a look.
Thank you, Eric.